Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters. And I'll just start things off by saying, I bet you feel pretty fucking stupid now, don't you, Blumhouse? Huh? Moving your fucking werewolf movie? Fucking, yeah, looks like Terrifier is not even a factor anymore.
Terrifier is moving to January.
In all seriousness, this is some exciting news. This is definitely good news. I'm always very, very happy whenever we get some, encouragement is the best way to say it. Or I guess another way you could call this kind of a move in the movie industry as, confidence from your studio, your filmmakers. Because, yeah, we usually hear a lot more about films being pushed back rather than pushed up. And normally that's a good sign. Not always, but I would say in Terrifier 3's case, this is a great sign. Luke, how are you feeling about Terrifier being pushed up 2 weeks to now coming out on October 11th as opposed to the 25th? Just right off the bat, and then we'll get into the details.
Oh man, pure excitement. I mean, we thought we were going to be seeing this thing at the end of October, but now we get to see it smack dab right in the middle. And of course, it's on my birthday. So I could not be happier. It's going to be a great birthday present for me. So I am here for it.
I know. I saw that and I was like, that's fucking cool, man. I love that. It honestly, like, if this is anything like the second one, it's gonna be a hell of a birthday gift to remember for sure. But this is really,
We just
again,
need the popcorn buckets.
right. And apparently I saw a little blurb about that. I'll mention that right now. Nothing official. This is just someone on Twitter apparently said that Trick or Treat Studios, I guess, has kind of thrown in a bid or something towards Cineverse and Fuzz on the Lens and all the other production companies to say they would make them. So they might not show up in theaters, but hey, if we can get them before the movie comes out and you can just order one from Trick or Treat Studios, I'm down. You know that they won't skimp on the gore and shit, so that'll be cool.
Absolutely. I'm all for it. Hey, I'll buy it and bring it to the theater if they let us. So I think that would just be a great little complimentary thing. I mean, we got those posters, which were awesome. So I'm just, of course, we're excited for the film. I cannot wait to see any sort of holiday-related Terrifier 3 things going on, since it is a Christmas film. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, and this is so good because this really sets itself up nicely, I think, because yeah, the 25th, everybody, when that first got announced, we're all happy with it, of course. October 25th, 5 days before Halloween, it makes sense. Art the Clown is like the new slasher icon that everybody wants a piece of. Let's do it. But to have this now get pushed up to the 11th, it really makes it so you can take advantage of the entire month of October, which, I think is so much better because then you can have people, who I think a lot of people, even that month, even though we get a lot of horror nowadays in October, like we're supposed to, a lot of people do kind of wait until that week of October before they start seeing some of the bigger releases. I remember in 2018, there were people who went out day one to see Halloween. And then there were people who waited until because what was it, like 2 weeks before the actual holiday of Halloween? So, I think that you're going to get a nice kind of wide berth of people going in there and seeing it. Plus, I mean, the competition is really thinned out since Blumhouse moved. And, I'm assuming with this being announced that maybe something else that month might be shifting and turning with some of the bigger studios. Only time will tell.
Yeah, and I think looking at Terrifier 3, we're in a much different place than we were in Terrifier 2, even though that was only a couple years ago, where it's, I think we talk about, Sam and Trick or Treat and that kind of being such a small property to begin with. But now, you go into Spirit Halloween and you're just flooded with things of Sam and Trick or Treat. Whereas like now, I think Art the Clown is not there yet, but I think, he's catching the eye of a lot of a general audience just because of the ultra violence, the headlines that we've seen. I mean, what he showed up in Pete Davidson's show at one point. It's like one of those things where Art the Clown is catching fire with that general audience, and their curiosity is there. So to kind of have this film be pushed up for a few weeks and have people who don't necessarily visit the horror space regularly except for the month of October to kind of have that opportunity to go into the theater and potentially see a Terrifier 3 just to experience it. I think that idea is going to be a little bit greater, and I think we could get some people on board with that. And of course, us horror regulars, I mean, it was one of those things that where it's like, it's coming out the end of the month. It's kind of putting an end cap a little bit on the Halloween season and kind of kicking us off with Thanksgiving, Christmas, that sort of holiday season. But now we can go see Terrifier 3 opening night. And then, hey, what are you doing in 2 weeks? Nothing. Let's go see Terrifier 3. We can open and close, the Halloween season with Terrifier and have more chances to revisit this rather than having to, rush back out to the theater 5 days later to try and catch this one again.
Absolutely. And with how quick the turnaround is, our buddy Jake from the Killjoy Jake channel actually put out a video just before us here. And I watched it, listened to it. He had some great points because obviously the dude is steeped in Terrifier news. But he was saying how with the quick turnaround of VOD nowadays, this makes sense. Move this up a little bit more. And then not only do you think that we might see this hit Screambox and then potentially VOD by Christmas, no doubt. But of course, we could see this drop just around Thanksgiving. So maybe even, right after Thanksgiving, December 1st, we see, Terrifier 3 hitting streaming platforms. So then you have the entire month of December where you can actually experience Terrifier 3 the way it's supposed to be around Christmas time, which, that's one of those things that I think makes this so special and so fun too. We talk about it a little bit, in our trailer breakdown, but just how you get to kind of take advantage of two mediums here with the way that they're doing this, where it's like, yes, Art the Clown associated with the Halloween season. You get to take advantage of that with the initial run, but then the ability to make this a Christmas holiday horror film, like that's so cool. Now you can kind of watch it 1 month here and it's good and it feels good, and then you can watch it in December and it just works. I really love the idea of having Art the Clown kind of dance around other holidays, because you don't get to do that with Michael Myers. You don't get to do that with Sam from Trick or Treat. You know what I mean? Like there's very few horror icons that can kind of jump from holiday to holiday.
Yeah, and Art the Clown is so versatile in that aspect of it. Looking at that VOD situation, I saw on Vudu, I think they're advertising Abigail coming up. So we do always have that short turnaround time in terms of from the theatrical release to, theater at home is what they call it. So I think regardless of that 2 week window, I think we probably would have got this streaming prior to the actual holiday season. Just I feel like they would have made sure to get this out. Now, I don't know what the turnaround is on physical media. I know with Terrifier, we went and saw it in October. Then I did get it for your birthday in January. So it is kind of, we do have that window. I am hoping that I'm unwrapping Terrifier 3 on Christmas morning. That's just me, because I would love a 4K of this. Obviously, we are physical media collectors, and I would love to have this on my shelf. The 4K for Terrifier 2 looks absolutely phenomenal. So I'm excited to actually get this. I would hope that maybe they make a run to try and get this out before Christmas, just so that us horror fans can have this under the Christmas tree by December 25th would be just a saving grace for me. But I'm excited, being able to check this out in the theater. A lot of great stuff coming out. I saw a tweet from Jason Baker saying that
Yes.
He's been 15 years in the horror community, and this was the first film he had to actually throw away a pair of shoes because he could not get the blood stains out of them. I thought that was hilarious. I think, everything coming out of this tweet wise from David Howard Thornton, everyone is saying how wild this thing is. So, my gosh, October 11th, please come get us soon.
Yes, absolutely. The hype is real. And I think I should also mention too that, we do have a couple of other projects coming out of the Terrifier camp, with something even dropping this month, but I know the one that everybody's talking about is Stream. So maybe if you guys are interested, we might, sit down and talk about the Stream trailer. I know it hasn't gotten a ton of publicity, but if you look at that cast and you look at the people behind it, that is pure Terrifier. Like that is everybody who's been associated with the Terrifier franchise behind the scenes. So I'm really curious to see where that one's going to lie. And we don't have too long to wait for that one. That one comes out in, August. So Luke, how are you feeling about Stream coming up?
I'm always a fan of seeing a lot of horror alum get together and do some films. Sometimes it doesn't turn out the best, but it's always fun to see those familiar faces. So I'm always excited to see anything like that. I think the concept behind streams rather interesting as well. Nothing necessarily that we've seen like that. So I'm always excited to see these kind of creative takes in the horror space. So and having that Terrifier name attached to any film always sparks intrigue. So I definitely want to check this one out. I would love to do a trailer breakdown for that one, just because it's completely slipped my mind until you just mentioned it. But I think it's worth a do. I know a lot of people are out there trying to get some intrigue behind it. Just because uh, more eyes on smaller products like that mean more eyes and potential to get smaller projects off the ground. So I'm excited for it. I think it could be a lot of fun. I'm not going into it expecting that Terrifier vibes for it, but I'm always open to more horror alum getting together.
Absolutely. And then we have just this month, Faceless After Dark, which is one that actually caught me off guard. I don't know if you were aware of this one, Luke, but this one stars Terrifier alum Jenna Cannell, kind of taking a Scream approach to the Terrifier franchise, where she plays an actress who starred in a horror movie with a killer clown slasher. And now somebody is taking that concept and actually chasing her in her character's real life. So really, really curious to see about that one. We do have a screener sitting in our inbox, so we will be getting a review to you guys here in just a couple of weeks. So I'm really curious to see what the Terrifier alum and the group there has to bring to kind of satiate that. And then we cannot, of course, go without mentioning, our buddy Stephen Lamort's film is coming to the screen with Steamboat Willie, which we now officially have the title of Screamboat, which I put up on Instagram, which was awesome. So yeah, lots of really fun projects coming from these guys, with Terrifier 3 as kind of being the Christmas tree topper of them all that everybody's waiting for, but lots of good presents. And honestly, yeah, like Luke said, it's these independent projects that wouldn't get too many eyes on them otherwise, but the fact that they have this kind of massive now icon to bolster them, it just gets you excited, and it does give you a reason to kind of have these little tiny morsels before the final big feast on now October 11th. So I'm excited for all of these.
Yeah, it's really wild to think about, especially when we first checked out that first Terrifier and weren't necessarily huge fans of it, and then
Yeah,
going in to check out Terrifier 2. And now to think, Art the Clown is kind of, attaching a wagon to his little tricycle and really pulling a lot of independent horror across the nation into theater. So it's really interesting to see just how one creation of a horror icon can really trickle down and get a lot of these creative projects off the ground, because, he really is that driving force. Nowadays, when you attach the Terrifier name to almost anything, it's going to spark that intrigue, certainly with the horror community. But like I said, it is kind of seeping out into the general audience with this intrigue of the ultra violence, and of course that little teaser that we got for Terrifier 3, and the focal point being a child, and Art the Clown in there obviously sparked a lot of discussion, which you did a little discussion piece on the channel,
I
which got
did.
a lot of play. So it is one of those things where a lot of people are finding this property. So I am all for Art getting eyes on more of these horror projects, because it's only been a short turnaround since Terrifier 2. And, we sat down with Kyle Edward Ball, Robbie Banfitch, all had, been affected by the Terrifier wave here. And, it just is this kind of tidal wave of hitting the horror space and getting these projects off the ground. We've seen so many smaller films get a chance in the theater, that probably wouldn't have prior to Terrifier, but now we're getting all this stuff because there is an audience for it. So I'm excited. Can't wait for October 11th. I think, this is going to turn the volume up even more on Art the Clown, Terrifier, and anything that's attached to it. So, hey, it's a great time to be a Terrifier fan.
I 100% agree, and definitely stay tuned with us, guys, because we are going to be, of course, covering not only these other films, but we are going to be taking a deep look at the Terrifier film universe and talking about a little bit of what Luke was just discussing there, as far as the effect that films like Terrifier 2 have had on the horror community as a whole. I know we've been talking and planning a video for quite some time, so I'm really hoping that we'll get that out. I mean, this kind of tightens our deadline a little bit more, but hey, I think we'll do just
We'll
fine.
get
But
there.
we're going to get that to you guys, essentially breaking down our thoughts and feelings on it. So lots of Terrifier-esque Terrifier content coming on the channel as always. So alrighty, I guess that's going to wrap us up here. So until next time, guys, I am Dylan Newell.
And I'm Luke Janesco.
And remember, stay scared.
Do the horror shit, gonna do it live. Cause Splattercast kick it every day they live. Splattercast, gonna smash your ass. 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 Splattercast, gonna smash your ass.